I saw something last night that was pretty cool. And no, it wasn't the NBA Finals. That thing's a train wreck. That thing's unwatchable. I saw something really cool last night. But as we always do, we start the program off with Big Sills. Guys are killing it. You had a great day yesterday. Let's see if we can get to 200 again. Yesterday, you guys got to 300 by the end of the program. I'm talking like Super Chats go to the front, and we welcome everybody aboard as we do each and every single day. We thank you. I know there's a lot of options out there, but you come here each and every single day to choose us. You see, I'm going to talk to you like a champion now. I heard it last night, and I saw a quote today by A.J. Owens. Oh, it was wonderful. I want to be the very best offensive player in the league. I want no doubt that I will be the best offensive player. That's my goal. I heard Tom Brady last night when they retired his number in his jersey. And I was listening to Brady, and I wrote a couple notes down here that I think A.J. Brown should take a listen to. You don't have to be special. You just have to do the things that people are unwilling to do. Be consistent. Work your ass off. Willing to work. And willing to stay focused. Team accomplishments outweigh any individual achievement. That's how you become a champion. That guy will never talk like that. And that kind of reminds me of the 2023 Philadelphia Eagle offense. Individual achievement outweighed team success. There lies your issue. Brady put it on display last night. Everybody had individual achievement, but you didn't have a team accomplishment. I don't think you can get any simpler than that. Broke records, 8th in the NFL in offense. Everyone got contract raises. Everybody had an individual year, but the team accomplishment failed. Right? That's one of the best. I wish we could play that, and I think we probably could. Couldn't we, Xander? I got it on my phone here. It's off the Patriots Twitter. It's public now. And I think if we addressed it, I'd love to play it. Of Tom Brady talking about team achievements. Can I play it, Xander? I mean, because I don't want to get us flagged or anything right out of the gate here. It's really awesome to hear this. I should have brought this up sooner. It's on the Twitter page. It's just right here. I mean, he was just talking about individual achievement. It's on the Patriot Twitter. And give Patriots credit. I'd love to just push this and just listen to it. Yeah, hey, Flexen says he watched it earlier. Let's see what Xander says, because I don't want to get us in trouble here right out of the gate here. Go for it. Okay. I want you to hear this. Coming from the GOAT of winning.
Tackle. Hit kids when they're
It's about playing football.
I would encourage everyone to play football for the simple reason that it is hard. It's hard when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eat pancakes. It's hard when you're on your way to practice, weighed down with all your gear, and it's 90 degrees out and all the other kids are at the pool or at the beach, and your body is already completely exhausted from workouts in 2 days. It's hard to throw, catch, block, and tackle and hit kids when they're way bigger and way more developed than you, only to go home that night bruised and battered and strained, but knowing you have to show up again the next day for just the chance to try again. But understand this, life is hard. No matter who you are, there are bumps and hits and bruises along the way. And my advice is to prepare yourself, because football lessons teach us that success and achievement come from overcoming adversity, and that team accomplishment far exceeds anyone's individual goals. To be successful at anything, the truth is you don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it. No shortcuts. If you look at all my teammates here tonight, it would be impossible to find better examples of men who embody that work ethic, integrity, purpose, determination, and discipline that it takes to be a champion in life.
You think that 23 Eagle team had those intangibles? You think that 2023 Eagle team had the intangibles on what he was talking about to be a champion? Not even remotely close to it. He embodies exactly what happened last year to the Eagles. It was all individual achievement. And it nothing to do with team. Nothing. So when people on my network, people on the radio are talking about, well, there's a lot of talent on that team. Oh, there are a lot of champions on that team. You think there's people with championship pedigree on that team? You ever wonder when you look at the Patriots back in the day, you just looked at them and you went, that's not a great roster. But it's a bunch of guys that are committed. Okay? It's just about being committed. He's right, dude. He's right. You don't have to. In any way. By the way, look at M. Reyes. Oh, shit, 23 and I never mind. Oh, because I'm sure you eradicated it and you've got a champion. By the way, we got a topic on this. And I'm going to tie it all into moving forward here. You see, M. Reyes is exactly what the topic is going to be about, because he's one of them. M. Reyes is one of them. I'm not sure he's wrong. But the one thing is for sure, 2023 showed us exactly what Brady was talking about. No commitment, not working hard. You don't have to be special, folks. Kansas City Chiefs offense is not special. The quarterback and the coordinator are. The rest of them are not special. Travis Kelce, okay. Claude Humphrey, yeah, okay. But that's not a special roster compared to the Philadelphia Eagles. They got championship pedigree now. That's an intangible that is developed, not just wanting it. Okay? I wanted to start the program off with that because it's going to go right into the topic here. And here's M. Reyes right here. Oh, geez. 23. Okay. You heard Brady talking about intangibles on being a champion. I've never heard A.J. Brown talk like a champion. He's a great football player. Hey, I hear a lot of these diva wide receivers. None of them talk like champions. None of them talk like champions. They talk about getting their targets and numbers and their salaries. Look at CeeDee Lamb. You think he's talking about cohesiveness, hard work, being a champion? No. So it goes and it's par for the course for that position. So I get it. Okay? Don't tell me that team of superstars and TB with Brady gave a fuck about the team. They were all me. That's absolutely one of the most obnoxious things you can hear anybody say. Look at how many players the Indianapolis Colts had on it compared to the Brady team. There's not one Hall of Famer he played with at the skilled positions in his entire 20 years that won a Super Bowl that will go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame outside of Gronk. That's it. No one else. In his 20 years, Brady never played with a Hall of Fame talent that won him a title. Ever. Ever in New England. And Antonio Brown is not going to the Hall of Fame. He never played in New England with one Hall of Fame player, except for Gronk, that won a title. That's it. There weren't Hall of Fame players on that team. Look at Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne's up for the Hall of Fame, Edgerrin James, Marshall Faulk, Hall of Fame coach and Tony Dungy. That guy played with 10 times the talent. Same O-line for a decade. Randy Moss never won a championship in his entire career. I think, quite frankly, that's exactly. Aaron Hernandez is not a Hall of Famer. They can't listen carefully, Flexen. They can't, and I'm not repeating it. You'll have to go back and watch it. Never played with anybody who will ever go to the Hall of Fame in New England outside of Rob Gronkowski. And that won a championship. Ever. Think about that. No receivers, no running backs, Gronk and him. Look at the titles that guys that potentially could go to the Hall. You had 2 Hall of Fame offensive tackles. Gronk is the only one. Exactly. Brady's that guy. He is that guy. Not the question. Seals, you're all right. TB12 did not play with Hall of Fame talent, but he was coached, okay? Played NFL war games with the greatest coach in the NFL. Great coaching trumps great players. You heard what Brady said. You don't have to be special. You just have to be committed. Well, there's one thing for sure. That football team last year in Philly was not committed. Was not committed. Okay? Well, you said Tampa? Hey, fantastic. I wasn't talking about Tampa. I said New England. He was retired last night, number 12 in New England, not in South Florida. Or not in Tampa, I should say. He was retired last night in New England at Foxborough. Let's stay on the topic here. Try to, at least. Try to listen a little bit. Okay? Okay. So, let's start it out with this. And we'll do M. Reyes here. Because he kind of goes right into the topic. Actually, the reverse of what Brady was talking about. Okay? Bro, you all sound crazy. It starts with the top down. You need a coach that embodies those behaviors, and the players will follow suit. You need direction. Wait, I thought I thought it was all Brady up there, Prince. Prince, I thought it was all Brady. I love what Brady said last night, too. You hear what he said? Wasn't you, coach. Wasn't me. It was us. Do you think the Eagles act like that and have that mentality in that so-called great Eagle locker room? Do those guys talk like it's us when the quarterback and the coach can't even be on the same page? For a teed up question, they can't even get on the same page. Coach, wasn't you, wasn't me, it was us. The Philadelphia Eagles can't get their quarterback and their coach on the same page to even answer a fucking question. That has nothing, they don't look like champions. They don't act like champions. They act like individual stars that get their money, get their numbers, and that's it. They can't even acknowledge one another. That's not hyperbole. That is exactly what we've been watching for the last month at least. Well, maybe even more, going back to 23. That team does not act like a champion. The quarterback doesn't even sound like that. Brady and him are so far removed from how you win a title. They'll never, until they get on that kind of boat and that kind of mentality. This is about mentality now. Prince is right. This is about having a coach. It starts from the top down and players follow. You are exactly right. How can you expect to be a champion when no one talks or acts like one? See, JM is so wrong. Prince is right. If you don't have people in the same locker room, I've been on championship teams. I know what that feels and looks like. And when you're in that environment on a championship team, you know what that looks like. You hear Brady talking. And I got the topic here. By the way, this is a really good topic here. Sorry, I just love how people are sleeping on other teams like the Cowboys, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. Until a team can beat the Super Bowl champions, my team is the Kansas City Chiefs. The one and only Ron the Don Smith. Hey, Don. Yes. Jalen has to be a better leader for sure. It's time. I agree, Sills. Yep. Sills, Brady was right. He couldn't do shit without a great team around him. Absolutely true. Had a great team around him. Do you know, get this, do you know that that's just a media way to attack a coach? Is to go through the quarterback. It's a great way to attack Belichick. It's low-hanging fruit. Well, he's nothing without Brady. Well, that's not how Brady thinks. Brady, that was from the heart last night, talking about how his teammates and them accomplished great team accomplishments. Those guys weren't talking individually. You see, media people have a mentality about themselves too, that their importance is more important than even what you think, and their words are more important than how you think and how their conversation lands to you. Remember something. These media people have massive egos, and they think they know better than you. Shit, you can watch our normal news cycle. They think they know better than you and that you're dumb and that you won't be able to figure out who to vote for in November. So what they do is they tell you dumb shit or fake news stuff, both sides, so that I know more than you. No, dude, don't tell me who to vote for. Don't tell me how to think. I'll do that for myself. And people get mad at you and me. You know why? Because we have a mind of our own. That's why they get mad at us. And you're called a conservative if you have a mind of your own. You know that? It has nothing to do. You may think some things on both sides, But if you have a mind of your own, shit. You believe in free speech? You know one thing you got to think about with Elon Musk? So the guy has electric cars. He believes in the environment. He's trying to do things to go to space. And like I said, he's doing things with solar power. And now he's trying with free speech with the X platform. And yet he's a scumbag. You got it blows your mind. What? I thought that is exactly what a non-conservative is. It's crazy. Free speech, and the guy believes in battery cars. But he thinks for himself. Brady has a PR team. JM is so out of touch with the reality. You think Tom Brady won Super Bowls with a PR firm? Does that guy look like he talks to his teammates through a PR firm? No, your quarterback in Philly has a PR firm. He's the guy that does that. He's the non-leader. He can't communicate. Hey, what do you make of your coach? I don't know. That guy I watched Tom Brady last night, and I'm going, man, let's just forget the 7 Super Bowls for a moment and just listen to him talking about his teammates. I've really never heard Jalen Hurts even give his teammates great kudos. Man, I'll tell you, AJ's one of the greatest players I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like Devontae Smith. Our offensive line is the best. Has he ever given any kind of love to anybody in the organization? Has he gone out of his way to even prop up some of the younger players? Or I've never heard him in any way throw any love or any flowers at anybody on the team. To who? I can't remember. Hey, AJ's a great player. I heard Brady last night talking about every single person on his football team. Okay? Just here. So let's get to the topic. You guys think so? You're not listening, Sills? I can't hear it. You're right. No, I can't hear it. Shit, he can't even say anything good about his coach. That guy has never said one word about his coach that's in the positive light, has he? Has Jalen Hurts ever said a positive thing about his coaching staff? As far as I'm concerned, he said that one comment about the inconsistency and wish he had it. Have you ever heard him talk about the coaching staff in a good light? Hey, they really did a great job game planning. You know, it was unbelievable. The plan was great. I thought how about this? When they beat Mahomes, you would have thought there would have been some love coming. Nope. Hey, Brian Johnson called a good game that game, didn't he? So let me ask the question then. Here's topic one. Sills once agreed that Barrett Brooks, Eagles should bring in Deshaun Watson over letting Jalen Hurts prove himself. Well, Jalen Hurts is back to proving himself for us still. He's in the same boat the guy in Cleveland's in right now. What happened? Jalen Hurts hasn't proven himself. He's proven to be inconsistent. And if you don't have the proper coach around him, he can't do it. That's my takeaway from him. Those are facts. Okay? Here's the first topic. Do the Eagles deserve the benefit of the doubt from 23? And why? Why do they deserve the benefit of the doubt? Why do they deserve the benefit of the doubt? Name a player who can succeed without a proper coach. Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, and Michael Irvin. Won a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer. I don't think Barry Switzer is going to be knocking on any doors for any NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame. Joseph said because they're the Eagles. No, because they didn't bring the staff back. They cut bait and started over. They don't deserve it because that was the first time they faced adversity and they crumbled under its pressure. Doubt new year, new team. There's nothing to doubt. Why? You didn't doubt 23? That it's not going to be the same? Why do they look as good as your 22 year was as awful as your 23 year? Right? Why do they deserve the benefit that this thing's going to get turned around? Seals isn't wrong, but Jalen has reached the mountaintop. Just didn't plant the flag. Deshaun still hasn't won much. Dude, Forest Hill, Jalen Hurts going to a Super Bowl is one of the most overrated metrics that you can possibly give a quarterback. I can name you some of the shittiest quarterbacks on the planet and some of the greatest quarterbacks on the planet. Did you not hear Brady? This is a team effort. And if you don't have a team built around you, you can be Brad Johnson and go to a Super Bowl and win it, and you can be Warren Moon and a Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame player, and never get to one. You're missing the point again, and this is why 23 was about individual achievements in Philadelphia and not about team accomplishments. You are answering this, do they deserve the benefit of the doubt question? And I'm sad to hear it said this way. Look at Eagle fan. Screw Brady, he's gone. You're lucky he's gone. Because going to a Super Bowl is very easy, right? No. But that's not the metric you gauge great quarterbacks on. So Jimmy Garoppolo and Colin Kaepernick are great quarterbacks? I am tired of that metric. Well, Jalen took the team to the Super Bowl. I could name you 100. Jake Delhomme took a team to a Super Bowl. Is he great too? If you're using that metric and calling him great, he's not great. It's a team accomplishment. So wait, Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Phillip Rivers. Neil O'Donnell is a better quarterback than Warren Moon. Is that correct? Who's the other guy they had in Pittsburgh take a team to the Super Bowl? The dual threat guy from Colorado that took a team to the Super Bowl. Cordell Stewart. You're telling me Cordell Stewart is a better quarterback than Dan Fouts? Is that crazy? So your metric is, well, Jalen went to the mountaintop. That makes him a superior player to Josh Allen and any of these other guys. It's the dumbest shit going. Hey, I'll tell you this. More people around the league have as great and more respect for Kirk Cousins than they do a lot of quarterbacks in this league. And I'm not saying you have more respect for Cousins over Jalen. But I'm saying there's more respect for that guy down in Atlanta than you think. And I got 200 million reasons why I'm telling you that at 36 years old. It's crazy. Every time I hear, well, Jalen took a team to the Super Bowl. So did Jake Delhomme. So did Colin Kaepernick. So did Jimmy Garoppolo. What is that? So did Carson Wentz help you win home field advantage? I mean, you're covering. That's right. I saw somebody say you're covering for deficiencies with the 22 Super Bowl and his inability to be a quarterback who can read defenses. Rex Grossman, very good, another guy that got to a Super Bowl. Are you truly telling me that because, like Jalen, got to the Super Bowl in the pinnacle, that Rex Grossman is better than Phillip Rivers or Warren Moon or Dan Fouts or even Kirk Cousins? It's the dumbest shit going. I hear people do that. We got to the Super Bowl. That's not, dude, I'm not saying it's not a great team achievement, but that's not a Jalen Hurts achievement. That's a team accomplishment, what Brady was talking about. Look at this. So look to JM's point. So Stam Humphries, who got to a Super Bowl with the Chargers, is a better quarterback in some of your line of thinking than Dan Fouts and Phillip Rivers, right? Stan Humphries. That Charger team, Bobby Ross coach, got blown out by the Niners. He's a better quarterback because he got to a Super Bowl. Okay. Steve says Jim McMahon, Josh Allen. Jim McMahon never played one season in his entire football career that he didn't miss a game or multiple games, not even remotely in the room. And I'm not even talking skill set wise. I'm talking just durability. He never in his entire career, McMahon, ever played a full season. Let's just go there with availability. Why does Sills address the headline? Isn't that you can talk? Dude, I was talking about Tom Brady and you giving him the team the benefit of the doubt. Tell me why you should give this Eagle team the benefit of the doubt when the head of the snake is still there. Why? I'll land on it. Why should you give him the benefit? Hey, dude, you've been to 3 straight years. You got some ammo. Well, Sills, we've been to 3 straight playoffs since we've implemented this way of thinking. I mean, albeit they're 2-3 in the postseason, but we did win an NFC title game as a unit, and we did get to a Super Bowl as a team. Don't you think we should get the benefit of the doubt in 23? There's a part of me that goes, they've got ammo. I mean, they have ammo. Hey, Big Trag, I get it. He's still there with nothing to do. It's kind of like he's in the house and you're like, why is this guy still a house guest? I thought he was leaving last week. Like Dick Sirianni's like a house guest. Okay, I mean, yeah, Jeff Hostetler's another guy that won a Super Bowl. Jeff Hostetler is better than Phil Simms. Okay. Yeah, all right. Sure. Again, every single time, it's the only thing that the Eagle had. Because how about this? Let's do this. Let's take all Super Bowl appearances away from all quarterbacks in the National Football League's history. And you take that out of Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady's even. How's Jalen Hurts' career been without the Super Bowl appearance? What would you say to that? What would you say to that? Hey, Waldo Vision, that's not horrible, that take. That's not horrible. Guys, please hit the like button. I appreciate it. Conversation today, my friends. If you take the Super Bowl appearance by the team accomplishment away, okay? So are you suggesting to me, Martin, when you watch Joe Burrow throw a pass from the pocket and how he goes through his all progressions, that you would take Jalen Hurts over Joe Burrow? Are you suggesting that? Okay. The only problem that I would say is that Jalen has him over consistency on being healthy. He's by far more healthier. That I give you. There's another one, Trent Dilfer. Those are team accomplishments making it to the Super Bowl. Now, if you become the MVP like Nick Foles and outplays Brady, he accomplished something by outplaying the guy on the other side, which is insane. Get to the game. Foles took it apart. That was arguably one of the greatest performances I'd ever seen in quarterback play, was what Foles did in that Super Bowl against Belichick, against Brady, and all them guys. Football team that is almost second to none. And they ripped a new one in them. Hey, I'll say this one more to you, man, about Nick. I have never seen a team make the New England Patriots put up the white flag and wave for surrender. He was insanity. That was one of the absolute greatest Super Bowl performances, calm under pressure, everything you want in a guy at that moment. It was one of the greatest 60 minutes of play of quarterbacking I've ever seen. And I mean all of them. And in that game and in that moment, you could put him against anybody. Like, who had a better performance? Maybe the Sims performance against the Broncos when he was like 22 or 26 or some shit like that. He missed 4 passes. Was something crazy where the Giants beat the Broncos in Pasadena. He was just insane. It was one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. That Brady performance that he had against the Rams when he drove them down with seconds left in the ball game. Vinatieri kicked a field goal, and they ended up winning that Super Bowl. I think it was their first one. That was absolutely a great performance late in that ball game. Chris Chandler has been to a Super Bowl. Congratulations, Jalen. Again, it's the worst metric you can ever use when you're talking about do you have an elite quarterback or not. And I hear everyone do it. And I'm like, I can name you people. It's a team accomplishment. Brady was talking that last night. It's why we opened the program out with it. The Eagles a year ago were not a championship team. They didn't talk or act like one. Everyone got paid. And now we're given the benefit of the doubt. Okay? Why? And again, like I said, you've got pads to land on. 3 straight playoffs, dude. Dan, if you think 23 was so bad, we did win 11 games. I mean, quarterback didn't play well. He was third in turnovers. Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Nick's 34-17. Shouldn't a guy like that get the benefit of the doubt? Well, when Doug only won 4 games, you guys didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. You fired him. Doug didn't get a chance to dig his way out of it. Maybe the Eagles don't. I don't know why the Eagles didn't give Doug a chance to turn it around, but they're giving Nick to win 2 or 3 more games. Like when you're the Eagles, let me ask you this. It's a pretty great conversation. I didn't think of this angle. So when the Eagles were bringing him back, Sirianni, and they had decided to fire Doug, think about what they did. They fired Doug, knowing full well he had accomplished something by winning a Super Bowl, and he'll always go down as a Super Bowl champion coach. You really think that the front office really thinks that Nick is a better coach than Doug, and that Doug or that Nick is a coach that's going to win a Super Bowl for you? Does that guy look like a Super Bowl champion coach? Let's think about the coaches that have won it. Brian Billick. And I'm talking about not the frontline guys like Shula or Noel. Brian Billick. Tomlin's got one. John Harbaugh's got one. Tony Dungy's got one. Hank Stram's got one. Let's see. Mike Shanahan's got two. Mike Holmgren's got one. Does Nick Sirianni fall in that line with those names? Like when you think of coaches that have won Super Bowls, does Nick Sirianni's name pop into your mind? Tom Coughlin, even. Sure. Coughlin should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Bill Cowher. Does Nick Sirianni's name? So when they were deciding to bring him back, they looked at him and went, yeah, he falls in the line of what I think is a guy who can deliver me a Super Bowl. Like when I look at Eric Spoelstra, and believe me, I was down there when they named him head coach. I think it was after Van Gundy. I think they blew Van Gundy out, put him in there. And I was like, they put a guy from the video department in the head coaching position. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA now. You know why? He was groomed by Riley. He knew what he was looking at. You think the Eagles really know what they're looking at when it comes to championship coaches when you fire two of them and you keep one that, for whatever reason, he more follows suit to how you do business than how you win games? It's crazy thinking. I get the whole Andy was out of gas. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying you had a mentality that my way of doing business, because Xander and I talked about this yesterday. They're more comfortable with the way Doug runs their team, not his team, their team, than what Doug was, because they don't know if he's a championship NFL head coach. They know their system has been to 2 Super Bowls in 6 years and their way of thinking. So it's not important if he's a championship coach or not. That's why they can move off of Reed and Doug. When they look at coaches in Philly, they don't look. And what Prince said is the most important thing. It starts from the top down. And everyone buys in. You're dead on, Prince. You're dead on. You're dead on. There is no question about it. It's lack of team continuity. No matter how many players they put in that huddle, until that team starts acting like a champion, they'll never, ever, ever win a championship again. Let me tell you something. You know, as significant as that Philly call was, the coach looked at him, players suggested it, and they looked at one another and went, run it. You can't be any more involved with one another and on the same page with one another in that brief ego moment that will go down etched in history as one of the greatest team moments I've ever seen. Foles gets in the huddle. The players must have went, what? And they ran it in the Super Bowl to perfection. That's team accomplishment. That's, phew. I'll tell you one thing that 17 team had that 22 team and the 23 team will never have. They put individual team accomplishments or individual accomplishments to the side and they put team accomplishment. And the quarterback scenario can't be any more different than that. And it can't embody that anymore. Hey, Wentz got us here, next guy up. We're going to rally around our team. They weren't just rallying around Nick. They were rallying around the entire unit. And you had coaches, right, JM, in the place that accentuated that exact thought. Get this, do you really think that Howie Roseman had any influence in 2017 in the coaching staff and the direction of the team and the way that they would go on and win that Super Bowl? You guys have been telling me they'd win a game against Atlanta 17-14, and they have the powwow meetings on Monday or Tuesday where he had to explain why they won a game by 7 points or 3 points. Gives a shit. Get out of Dodge, get the win, move on. It was just I can tell already. Because look, 17 wasn't as talented as the 22 team. It's one of the greatest rosters I've ever seen. But it didn't have championship mentality. You know what? Here, I'll say this to you about San Francisco. I think they learned a lesson. If there's two things that you are taking away the last two Super Bowls from when it comes to the two, hey, would we not agree? The two best rosters, many people's eyes, in the league belong to the 49ers and especially on offense to the Eagles, right? And you can't beat Kansas City. Do you understand? No matter what you do, no matter how much money you spend, it's got nothing. It has a lot to do with the quarterback and the coaching. I give you that. But there's 22 guys that have to go out and play, not two. They're rowing in the same direction. Snead wanted more money. We don't do that here anymore. This is all about us. Balanced salary cap, believing in the younger players. I'll tell you this too. Kansas City's got balls. They move off the best corner in the league because they believe in the guys they drafted in the 3rd, 5th, and 6th round. Well, I get it. 15 gives you that, and you can afford to do that. Okay, again. So the benefit of the doubt, there's a part of me that says they should. They should. But, like I said, listening to Brady last night, the problem with 2023 team wasn't talent. It was a championship mentality. Could it have been what one of the guys said in here? That it was a hangover from the Super Bowl and that Super Bowl loss carried over? Most teams don't do well after winning a Super Bowl. We see that. It's chronicled. It's not something that's just conversation. We see that. Hey, by the way, let's do something positive here. For the Eagles to win 11 games after winning 14 and going to a Super Bowl where most teams have a nuclear meltdown, it's quite an accomplishment. It's a hollow accomplishment, but it's an accomplishment. How many teams have losing records and miss the playoffs? Right? Eagles winning 11 games in home field. The conversation, maybe winning the East. Hey, they fought. They fought because they were good, not because they were champions. Because at the end, that fell out. Follow this. The Eagles team is like a NASCAR team with no crew chief. You can have a good driver, Hertz, a great car, the roster, but the crew chief puts it all together. It's one thing Joe Gibbs believes at Joe Gibbs Racing. B. Costello said something here that is probably true. The NFC East is ours to lose. Well, it's been that way now going on 3 years. Yes, it is yours to lose. Yes. Sills, who do you have in the Super Bowl this year? I'm not there yet. Jalen wins like 3 Super Bowls. How about trying to win 3 games in a row again? Let's get there. Let's win Green Bay. Let's win Green Bay. Nostradamus, I like your love for it, but let's see. Okay. So I think I have to answer the question too. Sills, are you going to give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt? Am I going to give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt? I just don't like the outside stuff. If it was just the players, I would. But you're fighting a mentality of the front office not allowing people to do their jobs. I would listen, if this had a coach and this team has a coach or had a coach that had Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh or Kyle Shanahan's power, I would. But because you don't, I can't. I can't give you the benefit. Like get this. Am I going to give the Cowboys the benefit of the doubt? No. Why? It's not because of Mike McCarthy. It's because of what Mike McCarthy can't do. It's because of what he can't do. You know what that is? Lead. Front office not letting people do their jobs is the American way. At most jobs. That's why there's not a lot of champions. Like Brady said last night, being a champion's hard. It's hard to be a champion. It's hard. He's right. Everybody in Philly got paid. Everybody got contract extensions. Everybody had career numbers. Team accomplishment was the sacrifice for it. How do you feel about that? Everybody got theirs except the team. You sacrificed team accomplishment in 23 for individual achievement. Am I wrong? How can that not be any more on display than the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles? The money speaks to it. The addition of Barkley speaks to it. Right? Get this. Shaquille. Contracts had nothing to do with what happened last year. Yes, it did. You're not going to give A.J. Brown $32 million if he puts up 900 yards. You're not going to give Devontae Smith $25 million a year if he puts up 600 yards and he's not consistent. You're not restructuring Jordan Mailata's contract if he gives up 6 sacks. You're not going to give a quarterback $50 million and pay him if he sucks. If Landon Dickerson stunk last year, he's not getting $20 million per. All the things they did last year got the contract raises. What do you mean it had nothing to do with it? Well, then what did? Okay, let's go down by your thinking. If last year had nothing to do with them getting paid, how'd they get paid then? They didn't win. Then how did they get paid? What, because the Eagles like them? How did they get paid? If you're saying last year had nothing to do with them getting paid, then what did? What did? Giving them the benefit. That's going to be a ringing theme. Career years, once again, Wayne, individual achievement over team accomplishment. Oh, they paid him for 22. That's what organizations do in businesses. Something you did 2 years ago, they pay you for. Now, well, how come that didn't apply to Reddick? Reddick's got 30 sacks in the last 2 years. How come that didn't apply to him? If there's anybody on defense that deserved that more, there was nobody on that football team defensively that deserved a pay raise more than Hassan Reddick. Why didn't they do that? Why? Reddick is still a no-show in New York, Sills. Got it? But like Xander said, so he wanted $5 million more. You got 27.7 now in the coffers there in Wally and Howie's pocket. Look at Dick Train. Howie, GM of the year already. New additions haven't played it down, but he's got him GM of the year. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out how old these guys are and how good they are. We sure will. No excuses. Absolutely. Sills, the organization loves their victory lap. Yeah, they're still on the 17th victory lap. The day after the parade, your lap is done. If you don't have a parade, there is nothing to brag about. Off-season champions. A Howie Bowl. Here's one thing to do, too. John McMullen and Xander were talking about it the other day about if you're content with just winning Super Bowls, you'll be miserable. That soundbite that I played you from, hey, Xander, put that up again for me, crediting the Patriots if you can, please. I want you to hear one thing again, okay? And I want you to tell me something. If this contradicts what John McMullen said about people being happy or being how a champion talks.
Everyone to play football for the simple reason that it is hard. It's hard when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eating pancakes. It's hard when you're on your way to practice, weighed down with all your gear, and it's 90 degrees out and all the other kids are at the pool or at the beach, and your body is already completely exhausted from workouts in 2 days. It's hard to throw, catch, block, and tackle, and hit kids when they're way bigger and way more developed than you, only to go home that night bruised and battered and strained, but knowing you have to show up again the next day for just the chance to try again. But understand this, life is hard. No matter who you are, there are bumps and hits and bruises along the way. And my advice is to prepare yourself, because football lessons teach us that success and achievement come from overcoming adversity, and that team accomplishment far exceeds anyone's individual goals. To be successful at anything, the truth is you don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it. No shortcuts. If you look at all my teammates here tonight, it would be impossible to find better examples of men who embody that work ethic, integrity, purpose, determination, and discipline that it takes to be a champion in life. I would encourage
You think that 23 team had that? What did he say? You have cheerleaders to back you. No, you have 7 Super Bowl rings to back you. Brady doesn't need anybody backing him. He has his teammates. He embraces team accomplishment, not individual accomplishment. Football is not anything to do with individual accomplishment. It has nothing to do with that. It's a byproduct of it. Of good coaching, great players around you. It has nothing to do with that. So when you hear A.J. Brown talking about wanting to be the greatest offensive weapon in the league and not talking about being a champion, that's ingrained in that position in the league today. It's not an A.J. Brown thing. That's why those wide receivers are constantly moved in their primes. Because they don't have that innate ability to think like a champion. None of them. Now, let me ask you this. Was that a successful year for A.J. Brown last year? 1,700 yards, $32 million contract, brand new extension. Is that a successful season? 11 wins? Who in their right mind wouldn't think it was? That guy. That guy would. Brady's the greatest 1-0 football player of all time. And what I mean by that is this guy doesn't add up his accomplishments. His next greatest moment is next. Those guys didn't get paid off of what they did a year ago. Well, it wasn't for winning. Do I think Jalen thinks like a champion? No. No, I do not. Because I'll tell you what, I heard something else with Belichick last night. Belichick, you know what was really cool to see? Belichick, Kraft, and Brady all burying the hatchet. Hey, Tom, you know, your teammates did so much for all of us. You did so much for the community, and you did so much for me. I just want to thank you. Bill Belichick thanking Tom Brady for the impact he had on his life. That was the first time I ever heard that. I thought that was great. Because they realized that taking a step back going, we needed one another. Kraft, Belichick, and Brady. In Philly, you don't have that dynamic. The Eagles don't need Sirianni. They don't need their coaching staff. That's why they're interchangeable. Xander asked the question. By the way, we'll have him on at 3:30. And we'll have Jason Cole, our NFL Hall of Fame insider, at 4:30. Asked the question, will the RPO be back? And then John McMullen said something, too, on Birds 365. You know what he said? He goes, well, it better be. You don't know that already? Jalen doesn't know that? On June 13th? If the RPO, now, it's OTAs and it's minicamp. The run game's not installed yet. So we're going to go July 25th. So July 25th, they'll start installing the run game. You'll have basically a month and a half to install the entire new offense with the run game and the complicated passing attack of Kellen Moore to go against Green Bay. Will you be ready? Will the RPO be back? Are you going to put it back in or not? Let's take a look at Jalen's last 3 years. 15 games, 139 attempts, 784. Look how effective he was, even in 2021. Guy had less carries, 784 yards, and 10 touchdowns. And here's the beautiful thing. Here's the number you got to look at. 5.6 a clip. Every time Jalen Hurts touched the football, 2 times, he got a first down for you. 2022, 165. He missed 2 games. He was on pace for about 190 carries, he would have eclipsed that. 760, 13 touchdowns, full yard down, 4.6 yards a carry. So he goes from 5.6 to 4.6. Not horrible. Last year, played all 17 games, right? 157 carries, 605, about 155 yards less, and about 200 yards less from the first time he took the reins as being a starting quarterback. 15 TDs because you didn't have a red zone back. 3.9 a carry. So every year that Jalen Hurts has been in a system in Philadelphia, the first two were RPO driven because we talked about it yesterday. They were Shane Steichen centric, right? Shane had 2 years, 4.6, 5.6. Okay. Averages out to about 5 yards a carry. 2 years under Shane. Okay. You get away from that, you're around 3.8. What's that tell you? They're moving away from it. Less carries, less yards per carry. Will the RPO be back? No. No. Okay? No. It won't be. Hit the like button for me here. I'm going to move on to the second topic. I'm not going to take a timeout, Xander. I'm going to build this thing up so that when we get down to the bottom of the hour here, because I want to bring this up, because it all kind of goes hand in hand here a little bit. I heard Jeff Kerr bring this up. I'm going to ask you something here. Now, there are about 28 players on the Eagles right now that are in expiring contracts or on 1-year deals. There's about 28. I didn't write all 28 of them down because some of them are going to be non-factors anyway. Okay? Some of them are going to be non-factors. Here's the topic. And I'm throwing this out at you, and you tell me if I'm wrong. The Eagles will never be consistent championship contending teams. I didn't say winning teams. I said championship teams. Is that fair? Is that fair? They can never be a championship football team. Or consistently one. I should say. Let's put it there. Not saying they can't win one, but to be a consistent championship team. How in the world can you have a consistently built championship football team when you've got 28 players on your roster, basically 30 players of the 60 of the 90 players you're going to camp with that are on expiring or 1-year contracts? You'll never be a championship contending football team on a year-to-year basis. Here are the players. Josh Sweat, probably gone. He's on a 1-year contract. Brandon Graham, out after this year. What are you going to do with Milton Williams? You know Milton Williams is on an expiring contract? What are you going to do with him? And you're starting him? So wait a minute. Milton Williams has an expiring contract. The Eagles aren't going to address that? What are you going to do with him? You're just going to let him go through the season and not address his contract? What are you going to do with Milton? Milton Williams has a expiring contract, and he's outperformed Jordan Davis. He outperformed him a year ago. So you're going to let him go through the season, get in the open market. Someone will pay him $15 to $20 million. Especially if he has a Pro Bowl season. Get this, Twiz doesn't think, even though Brian Baldinger and I both said Jordan Davis didn't deserve to be in a uniform last year at the end of the year, and Milton Williams was picking up all the heavy mail towards the end of the season for the team because he was the only guy really left, him and Fletcher. But he thinks that Jordan Davis has outplayed Milton Williams when Milton Williams was a disgrace to be in an Eagle uniform in the last 6 weeks of the season. An out-and-out disgrace. Okay? A disgrace to be the 13th pick in the draft, making that kind of money. What are you going to do with Milton Williams? Are we just going to let him go through the year? That's right, Troy. Milton Williams, until other advertise, until Jalen Carter shows that he's the best tackle on your team right now. Well, Jalen Carter's got more potential. I didn't say he didn't. Potential? That means we haven't seen it. By the way, Jalen Carter was nothing to write home about. Last 7 games of the season for him also. So you're going to allow him to roll through the season. Okay. I think that's kind of an issue because I actually like the player. I actually like him. See, get this here. Seals, I think Howie will make a mistake if he lets Milton walk. I do too. They will sign him mid-year. Why would I do that? If I'm having an all-pro year and I've been backing up, hey, by the way, if I'm Milton Williams and I'm not starting this year, now I know why they have him in the starting role. Because if I'm Milton Williams, I'm not staying in Philly as a backup when I know full well I can go somewhere else and start on 95% of the teams. And the only reason you got me behind Jordan Davis is because you drafted him 13th. It ain't like he's outplaying me. They're kind of trying to coddle to him a little bit. And maybe they're giving him an opportunity to prove his worth too. Let's be fair to that. So there could be that also. I want to be fair to the front office in that. Naming him in the 34 look when they turn in the depth charts and his name is there. Hey, you want money? Prove it. Okay. Starter money versus potential money. You see, if he goes on the open market and he goes in as a backup, he ain't making 20. He's going to make 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there, but he ain't going to make the $25 million that you're seeing guys like Javon Hargrave sign. You're not going to get that. But if you're a starter and you're proving that you can be a frontline guy, I'll say this to you one more time about Milton Williams. You know, I had this conversation the other day with Xander. Let me say this to you. Do you know how insane it is what Milton Williams has done as a Philadelphia Eagle, that he has not lowered his value as a player since he's been drafted in the 3rd round? You could probably get a high 2 for him. And if he happens to play great this year, midseason, you could get a 1 for him. Try that as a backup. When you got a starter that if you want to put Jordan Davis on the open market now, you're not getting a 1st-round pick. You're not getting a 1st-round pick for Nolan Smith. You're not getting a 3rd-round pick for Nakobe Dean. You're not getting a pick for Eli Ricks. You're not getting anything near that, what those guys were drafted at. But Milton Williams has kept his value. Those are high-quality picks. When a guy who's been a backup for 2 years has kept his value. And you're allowing him to walk into a regular season. Now, look, I'm not saying they haven't addressed it, at least behind the scenes. That doesn't seem to be Howie's MO. Okay? I'm sure that the agent and them have addressed it. Now it makes sense a little bit more why I see his name up there and not Josh Sweat's name. Because they're hoping that Milton is the future. Damn, Sills, you think Milton is that good? I do. Furman. Now, again, Furman, let me throw this at you. Well, how do you know Isaiah Rodgers is that good? He wasn't a starter in Indy. He wasn't a consistent starter in Indianapolis. How do you know he's that good? What are you just guessing? Practicing in pajamas? Ricks was undrafted. Thanks, JM. You're right. Rodgers is not proven. He is not a proven player. That is not true. He was a special teams guy the majority of the time that he was there in Indianapolis. They liked him and saw true potential in him. Then the gambling thing hit. Absolutely true. Not proven. Absolutely not. You're telling me Isaiah Rodgers is a proven defensive corner for 17 weeks in this season? That is absolutely not true. Top-rated corner in 22. Okay. No, high grades in 22. But not a starter consistently. Don't fool yourself. Milton Williams is way better than Davis. Again, let's get back to him. Davis. What are you going to do with him? How about this one? Devin White's on a one-year deal. What if Devin White turns in a decent season? Do you bring him back? Or he's not coming back for $3 million if he has a decent year. He's not coming back for that. So there's one linebacker out the building. Let's just say he plays well. Let's say he plays well. He's not coming back for $3 million. And the Eagles are not going to pay it, so he's out. Zach Bond is on a one-year deal. So your two starting inside linebackers will be basically, if the season and you are saying that they'll play well, are gone. So Milton Williams in your starting front seven, Devin White and Zach Bond are all on expiring or one-year deals. How do you build consistency with that? How in the world can you build a consistent defense when you're already inside guys are right now question marks on if they're going to come back or not? And by the way, if they're so talented, why are they on 1 year? And why haven't they addressed Milton Williams' deal? How talented can you be? Shit, A.J. Brown had 2 years remaining on his contract. They addressed it. I'm not saying not rightfully so. I think Milton's been a hell of a player for them. And then when you lose Fletcher Cox in the process, you don't think that would be something. Let's just say you sign him to a contract, you give him good money. I don't think it's a bad idea to have that guy on the roster next year if you draft another guy and he's your backup. That's not a horrible move. How in the world can you build consistency up? Get this. I'm pointing your own workout to you. There's 28 football players on the Eagles with expiring or one-year contracts. Jeff Kerr's right. Not a chance in hell you could build consistent championship football. Let me move on. The other guy they kind of like, Oren Burks, expiring or one-year contract. So all your backers that you brought in and supposedly Howie Roseman, general manager of the year, He's got to address all these guys, whether they're coming back next year or not. All based on one-year deals. How about this one? Let's say Mekhi Becton, God forbid one of the tackles goes down, plays Pro Bowl ball, which he's capable of. You're going to bring him back at $25 million? He's on a one-year contract. What are you going to do with him? Pay him? You didn't pay Isaac Seumalo. You're going to pay him and Milton? I mean, Milton won't be cheap. And Becton, if he plays to his capabilities, I didn't say you were losing all of them. I'll tell you what I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose Milton Williams, and I don't want to lose Mekhi Becton if that guy plays up to his ability. And those two guys are going to cost you about $35 million. I don't want to lose those guys. Where's Nick? Hey, Nick, Isaiah Rodgers is on a one-year contract. What are you doing with him? Huh? What? He's on a one-year expiring contract. What do you do with him? What if he starts? So, you're gambling with Milton Williams. You're gambling with Isaiah Rodgers. No pun intended. And Mekhi Becton. What if he stinks? How he's trying to have his cake and eat it. What if he stinks? Never build a consistent championship roster this way. Ever. Avonte Maddox's problems have nothing to do with ability. Unfortunately, that sucks. This guy could leave the NovaCare Center injured by just getting into his car. I get that. Matt Hennessy. Expiring. And I didn't write them all down. I wrote the guys who are probably going to play here. So you're allowing, by the way, so Josh Sweat is out. Are you paying him next year? Are you paying Milton? Are you paying Devin White, Zach Bond, your two inside starting linebackers? You're going to pay Mekhi Becton? What do you mean, come on? These are all players that their contracts are up at the end of the year. What do you mean, come on? Howie, general manager of the year. Oh, your favorite, who I said, I didn't know he was only had 1 year. Isaiah Rodgers, I picked to start. So wait a minute. You're going to have a starting corner. Now I know why Bradbury's in the building. You got rookies and a guy in an expiring contract in Isaiah Rodgers. How he's hedging his bets. Totally why. What if Rodgers sucks? What's one thing Xander keeps saying that is a thing that they said about him? Hey, getting the guys on the ground has always been an issue. And if I'm Milton Williams, I'm not coming back if I'm having a Pro Bowl year at some sort of Howie deal. When I know and I saw Javon Hargrave get $20 million. And I'm seeing what some of these defensive tackles are getting. Not a chance. Milton will go, hey, what are you going to pay Mekhi Becton? Again, like I said, if Mekhi Becton fills in for Lane or Mulata, one of those guys he's going to command $20 million. We'll pay Rodgers if Slay leaves. We'll pay Rodgers if Slay leaves. Oh, so you're keeping Slay and Bradbury then? Becton is on an expiring contract. 1 year left, guy. Becton can't leave? Yeah, he can. Seals, I have no doubt that Howie is already calculating the comp picks received if he loses those players. That's Howie's game plan. But Bob, that's my topic. You cannot build a consistent championship roster with constantly a revolving door on one side of the football. You can build a winner. You can't build a championship team when you're constantly revolving. And this is why, between the coach's revolving door and the defensive side of the football revolving door, you're never going to be in that conversation. Like Tom Brady said last night, that 23 team had not one quality characteristic about it when it came to being a championship football team. Had not one characteristic. It was all individual accomplishment with no team achievement. And that's what you get when you have one-year wonders that are under contract like this. They're walking mercenaries. There's only one side of the ball in Philadelphia that they give a shit about. That's where all the money is. That's where all the creativity is when it comes to the cap. On one side of the ball. It's surely not on the defensive side of the ball. Seals, I agree, consistency. When you have 33% turnover, it's tough. Unless you hit in the draft and have a staff that can get those draft players up and running year one, we are not that team. And that's why you've wobbled each and every single year in consistency. Get this. Here's another thing, too. You got to remember, you went from being one of the top teams in the National Football League in pass defense to one of the worst in 1 year. How's that work? Well, revolving door talent. I can't be the only person that is not blinded by Eagle Green that sees this. What are you going to do with some of these players? Have you addressed it? They haven't even remotely come close to having any conversations about some of these guys. Now, again, Isaiah Rodgers, they want to see him more than what they're looking at in pajamas. But you got quite a few questions here. You get quite a few questions. I heard Xander ask that question. Start the show off with that. Xander joins us each and every single day, 3:30. Don't forget, you can catch him at Birds 360.